Hey guys, today we are going to be using a new app called Assembly. So I want you to go into self-service. We're going to click on the three dots up in the corner and then go down to Art. And in Art, you should have an app that is called Assembly. Now, it is not on mine because I already have it downloaded, but it looks something like this little blue and green and yellow icon. That's what you want to download. After it downloads, you are going to come to a screen like this, and we are going to slide at the top, slide over until you get to the 16 by 9, and we're going to click on that, and then we're going to hit the check mark. Okay, and that is going to give us our canvas that we're going to work on, or our artwork. Now, at the bottom, you can see it says stickers, shapes, text, and styles. We are going to be working just with the shapes and a little bit with the styles today. You can also click the spot. Mine says the strokes. Yours might say something else, but if I touch that, it's going to open up this bar with all these different shapes. Okay, and they're kind of fun to experiment with, but we are not going to be using all of these things today. The only ones we're going to use is the strokes. Okay, and the reason we're going to use the strokes is because we can make them thicker and thinner in the styles. You can't do that with other ones. So for example, if I touch one of these, I put it in, I can go down to styles, and I can make that thick and thin, okay? And that's something that we want on this project. Whereas if I do other shapes that aren't in the strokes, I can't do that. So I can put in one from over here, design elements, and I can make it opaque, but I can't make it thick and thin. And making it thick and thin is kind of important today. So we're only going to use the ones from the strokes. All right, and we are going to be working with kind of like concentric shapes. So that is a shape inside of a shape inside of a shape. So you're going to use some of these designs. I would recommend using like the straight line. You know, you could use the V, this curved one, kind of these two curved ones. You could use one of these circles. Some of them aren't very practical, like this second column right here. Those are kind of hard to use. Okay, but I would stick to kind of the simple ones. For example, maybe I'm going to put in a line. That line I can make it longer just by touching the little white circle. I can make it longer like this. I can turn it. All right, I can zoom in and out by pinching my screen like we can for most of our apps. I'm going to find a spot to put that line. So how about right there? I'm going to go down to styles, and I'm going to make that thick or thin. You probably want to make it thick because we're going to be adding lines on top of this, kind of like we saw with our artist's work. So we don't want it to be too skinny because you won't be able to get your lines in there. I can also change the color. So I'm going to click that little button. You can use whichever colors you want. You can click on the wheel up here and change colors. I like using some of these palettes that are already made because those colors kind of go well together. So maybe I'll do kind of these pinks and blues. So I'm going to press that one. Okay. Because I need to make multiples of things, like I need to have 2 or 3 of these stripes, I can click this little the square with the plus sign right there, and it's going to copy that same shape. It's the exact same thing. Now I don't want to just go putting it right next to it because right now it just looks like one super thick pink line. I'm going to go back down to make sure I'm in styles. I'm going to go down to this little colored circle, and I can touch that. I can choose a new color. Now you probably want to work with colors that are similar. So if I'm going to put 2 stripes next to each other, I might want to do a tint or shade of each other. So I can come up to this triangle, and I can move it a different direction on that triangle. So I can go this way, it can get brighter. I can go this way, it can get lighter. I go this way, it becomes kind of like a shade. Maybe I'll do that. And then I can hit the little arrow up here in the corner, and that will take that back. Okay, so there I've got 2 stripes. Now I can group these together, so when I want to move them, I don't have to move them each individually. I can move them together. Oops, try to get this line back up. If things aren't lining up well, sometimes if you hit this little magnet too, it'll snap things into place a little bit better. All right, so to group them, I'm going to touch one of those shapes, and I'm going to drag it to all the shapes that I want to group together. So right now they're both highlighted, and I can hit this little chain down here and then hit group. So now when I want to move this shape, this has become one shape instead of 2. I'm going to go back to shapes down here. Maybe I'll do some of these curved lines. Figure out where I'm going to put that. I could rotate it. We're going to have some overlapping today, which is good. Makes the artwork a little bit more interesting to look at. Come back down to styles. Change the color. Remember, I was kind of working in this color scheme, so maybe I'll choose something else within there. Change the thickness of it. Remember, that's too skinny. And then I need to repeat it. I would probably stick to groups of 2 or 3. So maybe I'll do 3 this time, so I'm going to hit that. Got another one. I'm going to change the color a little bit using this triangle. I can set that next to it. And then I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to hit that, copy it, and maybe I'll go lighter this time, like this. Lining them up. And then I'm going to group them by putting my finger on it, dragging the shapes that I want to copy, and then hitting that chain link down at the bottom. Okay, so now these are all one piece. I'm going to keep going. You probably want to do this maybe 4 or 5 times. So once again, getting a new shape down at the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to make a circle, because you see that there isn't a complete circle. So I'm going to click this one right here that's almost complete, like this. I'm going to copy it, so I get 2 of them. This one I'm going to rotate just a little bit. So I'm going to touch that white circle and just turn it just a little bit. And then when I go to put it on top of each other, it creates that circle. And now I got to group them. So remember, hold your finger on it. Oh, look what happened. Because that shape, this shape is so big, it's getting in the way. So I'm actually going to touch that and move it out of the way. And now I'll try grouping these 2 circles together again. Group. Oops, I still got it. So I'm going to undo. My undo button's up here, way up the tippy top. We'll try that again. Group them. Okay, now I've got a circle. I can move this guy back down. Change the color of that, change my thickness. I'm going to go back to styles at the bottom. Maybe I'll do a blue this time. Make it thicker. Make it bigger. Maybe not quite that thick. There we go. Once again, I'm going to copy it. Now with the circle, obviously I'm going to have to make it a little bit smaller. Changing the color. I want those circles to touch. So there we go, that's pretty good. And maybe I'll do one more for that one. Once again, I can group them, but I probably need to move that thing again. So I'll hold my finger and drag till I get all my shapes. Group. Alright, so my artwork is starting to become more interesting because it has some overlapping to it. I'm going to do probably 1 or 2 more shapes. Making it thicker. Let's change that color again. Copy it. Change the color up on the triangle. Remember to line it up every time. Good, I like that. I'm going to group those 2. Group. I think I'm going to do 1 more shape. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shapes all grouped together. I'm going to do 1 more. How about, I'm going to do another line, I think. Nice big line going all the way across. Make it a little bit thicker. Change my color. Duplicate it and change that color. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that design. Okay, when you're done, you've got 4 or 5, 6 different things on there. You have some overlapping shapes. You have an interesting design. when you are all finished with your drawing, you like what you got, you're going to go up here to the 3 pancakes up in the top left. You're going to click Save Image, that big orange one. Now, when you touch it, yours is probably going to pop up a window that's asked for permission to save the photo or to access your photos. You need to hit OK or Allow. Okay, it needs to have that permission. Then you can go into your photos, double check to make sure that it's saved. There is my artwork. Okay, you can see it cut off anything that wasn't on my canvas, which is good. That's fine. Here are a couple others that I did so you can see some different examples. There's one. You can see I kind of used that V shape. That was one that I didn't demonstrate to you, but you can see I used it in my design. I think I have another one. Yeah, here's one that I did too with some greens instead. So really get creative with your overlapping different kinds of shapes and colors that you use. If for some reason the app doesn't work for you, or maybe you just don't want to use the app, you want to do some coloring instead, you can also do it with crayons or markers. So here is one that I did on a sheet of paper. You need to make sure to make your lines kind of thick. Okay, you can see that I made each line of my work like 2 or 3 marker strokes thick because we need to come in and add some details on top of that next time. If you do it on paper, remember to still make sure that you are overlapping. You can use tracers if you have any. Like here I use like a bucket for some of my circles. I used a ruler for my straight lines. I used the corner of a Kleenex box to make kind of this L shape. All right, so you are more than welcome to do it with crayons or markers if you'd prefer to do that. All right, can't wait to see what you guys make. Be sure to post your artwork into the activity on Seesaw when you're all finished so I can see what you guys are making. All right, bye.